Hello. Hello, hello.
What is up?
Happy St. Patty's Day, everybody.
Woo!
Yeah,
Happy St. Patty's Day.
That's why we put you by the pipe.
Burning the green.
I got my vape. I don't drink anymore. That was fun when it lasted.
Yeah, alcohol's kind of lame anymore. Gives me heartburn. Yeah.
It became unhelpful at some point. So we are to our loyal people.
Oh,
there she is.
Look who showed up. There she is.
I was about to.
Heidi's there. Yay!
All sorts of excuses.
Shit.
But then Heidi
What are
shows
you all
up
shitting about?
right
We're
on
live.
time like that. Look at that. Because
Hold on. Are we already live?
Yeah, you go ahead. Take your
You're
time.
live right now.
I don't know how you do.
Looking at you. Oop.
She's like, let me bow
I'm
for a
hiding
second.
her. Yeah, until
All
she
right,
gets.
fair enough. Hey, that was a pretty good episode last week.
It was good,
Marty
man.
Shield, man. Marty's fucking bomb. I want to
Dude.
hang out with Marty all the time.
Yeah, Marty's the
Track
best.
down shell
And you know,
companies.
like an IRS criminal investigator, doesn't necessarily sound like he'd be a ball of laughs. But that dude's fucking awesome,
He's
man.
great. I know.
He showed up
fucking great.
with the dog and the jersey and the bat.
Dude, Quincy showing up.
Quincy.
I was trying to remember
Quincy the
Quincy's
pug.
name. Thank you.
Yeah. Quincy.
So we're live?
We're
Yeah,
live.
we're live. We're doing it.
Hi, Heidi. We're live.
Woohoo!
I am going to be blowing in like a hurricane. I'm so happy to see you guys. Fuck. So
Yeah.
Here
So,
comes the story of
what
the
I think
hurricane.
people who hang out on Twitter all day with their anonymous shells and their single purpose hate, I don't think what many people grasp about this is that democracy takes a lot of fucking work.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, if you are not like on a campaign, working phone banks, in the field, donating money, whatever your skill set is, running for office even, then I don't know what you're doing, because hanging out on Twitter, retweeting, whatever is not going to do a goddamn thing. And so,
Well, 2/3 of them are overseas.
And Heidi, you got.
For some reason, there's a shitload of them in the UK.
And you have to explain to
Somewhere
everybody
in Peru.
what you're doing.
well,
There's an unusual number of Peruvians now.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Deepest, darkest heart of Peru. Yeah.
What I'm doing is I'm working in let's just say a local capacity, because I think we've been so traumatized truly by the last few years, and middle-aged women, I can certainly speak for myself. It didn't go as we planned back in 2016. And there's a lot of psychological pain, especially investigative types like me that knew that election was fucked from every direction and fraudulent. And, we've proven it many times on this show. I think Jim is right. I think we need a truth and reconciliation, because that was not a fraud, that was not an election that was not tampered
legitimate
with by a foreign enemy. That's right. And so we haven't even come to terms with so much of this stuff, but I asked Hi-Fi to pull a clip, and I hope you did, because I went to the Women's March in that sort of trauma phase in 2017, Washington, D.C. A lot of the really beautiful things that came out of the horror of the that election were then co-opted, and controlled opposition infected it. But I was there. Yes, Hi-Fi. Did you not do it?
I got it. I have the march.
What are you saying?
He's on mute, dude.
Oh, ignore me. I was playing with my little coin.
He's
So I'm hoping he cut the right clip because I just wanted to set the tone. I just wanted to set the tone with this incredible woman I met from Sweden, because the Women's March in Washington, D.C., it's very important to understand that people came from all over the world to be there because they knew something terrible had happened. Many people had been experiencing terrible things happening in their own democracies. They knew there was an infection and people had to be there. And there were a lot of men there, which was really incredible, a lot of supportive men. But what this woman said has profoundly altered, I think, my DNA. So let's hope it's the right clip.
Let's do it. Let's see. Give me a second. We are here.
It's the one I sent titled Women's March.
Protect democracy. Protect democracy and endure the difficulties and the labor of democracy. Shortcuts does not work for the people. It works for one human being or two of them, only the strongest. You must always get in touch with the weakest person, and from there is where you walk, and from where you work, I think.
You tell me what you want.
Yeah, I have this...
Look behind you. Oh. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So she went on to say a little bit more. That woman she's with is actually a famous Swedish director. That we have to endure the heavy lifting of democracy and not take it for granted. And before I met her, I just thought our democracy was just going to chug along and we were going to be okay. And when she said we have to frickin' do the work, it's like, I believe in doing the work. I got on a campaign in 2018. I'm working with a team now, and I'm listening to what citizens in our communities are saying. I'm looking at all these brave people who are actually willing to run in this time when we are continually in an influence war that has still yet to be defined in a way that I'm satisfied with. But, I'm begging everybody to do the work, and we all have our different skill sets. And I've been thinking a lot about the situation on our team, because clearly this show is actually doing the work of much of the work that needs to be done by exposing so much of what's happening in the influence war. And also because we get guests from all over the world who are incredibly brilliant, who then elevate our own game.
Mm-hmm.
But I've come to look at Jim, my colleague, situation as what I'm thinking in terms of a political prisoner. And what I mean by that is the people who are still left, this single purpose hate accounts, this network, this bizarre thing that's happening. That's really not even that bizarre. We pretty much know what's up. They are left to continue brigading and to continue causing trauma and continue doing all this shit. When the guy who told you to stay home on January 6th, the guy who identified who the person is who's been mind effing Americans is silenced, and now they're trying to silence you off another platform. They're trying to brigade our show, which is why I had to lock down our feeds on Twitter so people we don't follow can't comment, which I don't like to do because some of my best friends came out of random comments. But I just, putting these two pieces together, the work of democracy and the silencing of authentic people doing the work, is giving me an ominous feeling that I don't like. I feel like, everybody needs to listen to what you guys have been screaming about, and they need to get louder, and they need to not just be on Twitter, in front of their frickin' computers, moaning and growing. Please make part of your daily routine the work and the labor of democracy. And that is something I had to get out of my system. Thank you for supporting me, as you guys always do.
Thank
You're
you,
welcome.
Marty. There, I mean, I couldn't agree more. Um, I think for the Rad Pod and Chill audience, like everybody, deep breath. Like,
Me too.
absolutely, it's a terrible. There's a lot of terrible shit, but I also wrote a piece today about a lot of great shit.
Yeah.
That there's a lot to be hopeful about, right? So,
Lay
listen,
it on me, Blinn, because I
I am
need
Mr.
it.
Doom and Gloom, right? Like, you know me, I've been saying it like it is, but it's also important to say when there are good things,
Yeah.
that have happened. And for one thing, Slava Ukraini, man, those fucking people
Mm.
just give me hope. I mean,
Yeah.
they're breaking my heart every single fucking day too, with the absolute horror that's being wreaked on them. But fucking Zelensky, just like, who is this fucking
Yeah.
man who came out of a comedy,
Yeah.
like, and is just absolutely in every way
Rising.
crushing it, like in terms of being the right man for the time,
Mm.
like, wow. And every single person I have heard speak from Ukraine about the situation is fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, and the salt of the earth, right? So listen, and I don't like to celebrate the death of people, right? But somewhere between 7,000 and 13,000 Russian soldiers have died,
Wow.
which is
It's
7,000 is
staggering.
more than the entire death count of the United States in all of Afghanistan and Iraq for 20 years, right? Like, that's a fucking that's they are getting their ass kicked.
I
Like,
Yep.
just,
there is no other, like, way to put it. The Russians are getting their ass kicked. Their morale is down. Like, Russian moms are their kids are coming home, either dead or with limbs missing.
right.
And democracy is holding strong in Ukraine, and that is a thing that fills my heart. I mean,
Well,
it is absolutely horrendous. It is not a reason to celebrate in any way, but I think it is important. Just two more good things, and then I'll shut up.
no, I want to hear it, man. I just
The
want you
the
to know that Connor is pranking us. We all have shamrocks and hats everywhere, so I
So
can
the,
actually. So you've been doing that
I
incredible speech in the.
all I see is agree, because I'm, anyway.
So
So
please
so
say the two more points. I need this. I need some rad pod and chill because
I feel
continue,
you.
Jim, and I'll tell you where I'm coming
I
from.
feel the I'm in that state all fucking
Yeah,
day. I get it.
yeah, yeah,
I just, there is the other thing is our government, like, is doing some shit.
yeah.
Like, Blinken was on my TV like every day going, like, here's what Putin's going to do.
Mhm.
Today he was on my TV like, okay, get ready because they are preparing the ground for a false flag attack based on chemical or biological weapons, right?
Right,
They've said it before,
right.
but he got new intel and he's out there like, okay, no, seriously. And the thing is, nothing will probably happen. And the reason is that Blinken did that, like the last three times that they were going to do it, and he jumped in front of it. That's good, right? And then lastly, look, they have overplayed their hand. Oh, not just Putin. I mean, Putin's scary. He's a fucking
Oh
scary
my
dude.
God.
And he's got
He's in the
there's a
unhingy
really interesting
phase.
article by a guy named Robert J. Lifton about his totalist ideology,
Yeah.
which is really fucking scary because it gives you a rationality for mass murder. So Putin is a terrifying dude, but he has overplayed his hand and he knows it. It makes him more dangerous because he's got nukes and all this other shit.
Yeah.
He's a rat in a
But
corner.
he's overplayed his hand, and now a whole bunch of fascists who thought, no, this is actually the end times now, like Flynn, who, and other ones who are just and now a bunch of Republicans who have just outed themselves as Putin assets,
Completely,
effectively.
completely.
Tucker, the rest of them. So there is a in times like this, you get this sort of separation and clarity, as we've predicted. People are going to have to pick sides, and that's not in a situation like that. When you've got a fifth column in the United States on both the right and the left,
Yeah.
I want people to start fucking coming out with it, and they are. So
Yeah.
that those are a few for me. Nothing. No parades. There are thousands of Ukrainians dying, every week. But I do think that there are bright spots. So that is my sort of
I
counterpoint.
I needed
not
that
not an argument,
injection.
as it were, just a different angle on things.
I needed that injection because clearly I would not have been doing this work for 6 years, I guess, if I did not believe that we can pull through this. But the crushing weight of knowing that there are swaths of people who just don't give a shit and are silent and not doing anything, that's
Or
difficult for
worse.
me. Or worse, that's difficult. That's difficult for me because I always look at the 1930s, and we need the quiet 30% to care. We need them to care beyond what's convenient for them. And I just want everybody to be like that Swedish woman and start doing the heavy lifting of democracy. And where you can be most useful is in your local elections, because where the hellscapes are taking root right now are in local communities where the
The
corruption is becoming embedded in these
the
communities
elections are
that we
good.
can't take for granted that a place that was blue will continue to be blue. And
Look,
alternately, yes, Jim.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
I was
please.
just agreeing with you. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. It just, yes, this is Rad Pod and Chill, but we are, it's
We're
March, right? Obviously March 17th because Jim's wearing a shamrock hat and Hi-Fi has a pipe and, Connor's got a super Ukrainian, hat on.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
but it's March already, and if you think you're going to save democracy by just LARPing on Twitter or bitching on Twitter, you're not. That's just how it is. So I'm
The,
begging people to take this as an urgent cry to action. Yeah.
but, hi,
High
hi.
five.
All right.
Yes, you can talk.
I'm talking now. All right. Sorry. Hiding behind the pipe here. On the subject of Zelensky, heroes are made. They are not born necessarily. It's whether or not you rise to the occasion, and I think a few of us are rising to the occasion. I mean, I know I'm doing what I can to fuck shit up.
Yeah, you are.
Damn it! Now I lost my train of thought.
Oh,
Mute.
because Rad Pod
It
Muted. 10
didn't
seconds.
have anything to do with that fucking giant
that
joint you've
that
been
blunt.
Yeah.
chugging for like 10 minutes.
So you lost your
Hey.
train of thought, and you were saying you're doing what you can do, and what you can do is actually great data analysis. And you've been interviewed now internationally for the incredible, analysis that you did of Give, Send, Go. And by the way, you really ended up screwing over a lot of fraudsters, allegedly, apparently,
Well,
because there
all
have been
the
people have been dropping
Bitcoin,
out.
all the
Dropping
Bitcoin
out.
got seized. Or like
Yeah.
1.6 million of the Bitcoin got seized. Apparently, Give, Send, Go is now going to refund all the donations because something Canada, blah blah blah. Yeah, I don't know.
Let me just not to change. Go finish. Go ahead, hi-fi.
Now go
And
for
actually,
it.
there was a news thing I really wanted to bring up,
Please
and
do.
it was about a Republican who was found in Poland with
It's
a
weird.
bunch of Ukrainian kids, and we're doing an adoption thing, but they're not registered as a business anywhere. It kind of reminds me of the time the Republicans were caught in Haiti with a bunch of young children after a natural disaster there.
Yikes.
You need to find that story because that guy is
That
so
Shay.
shady.
Well, yeah, he also put out a guide on genocide of the liberals
Yes.
when the judgment day comes. And
Yeah.
that seems a little edgy to me.
Yeah.
A
Yes,
little
it is.
fascist.
Yes.
I got to eat some nuts because my blood sugar is low. So.
You got a nice suit on though.
Yeah, I know. This
You
is
do,
going
that's
to
a
be
nice
me.
suit.
That's going to be me for the next few months. You know.
Is it a pantsuit?
Why? Yes, it is.
Oh, well done.
So
Yes.
well, so I called my mom because I'm like, Mom, I have like closets full of clothes, but it's been a minute since I've been,
Pantsuited.
suiting up, showing up, kind of more, to corporate campaign style, whatever. And I got rid of everything that I ever wore on air ever at Fox because it triggered me,
Yeah.
And so I called my mom. I'm like, Mom, I don't have any clothes. What am I going to wear? And COVID, you're in freaking, elastic waistbands for 2 years. So that doesn't help, right?
Yeah, you're back in the public.
I know. So then my mom says, well, simple things, nice colors, little jewelry. Don't show your tattoos because we mature adults don't necessarily get it. And then she says, you're not a showgirl.
Okay.
And I actually thanked her.
Ma Kuda, it's 2020. Come on now. Come on.
Yeah,
2020.
she came out of the Weimar years, okay? You know what I'm saying?
All
Like,
right.
you want to talk about permanent scarring, but actually, you want to know something? My son and I are having a sleepover with my mother tomorrow.
Oh,
If I don't make it to the rundown meeting, you know that I'm buried somewhere in the LA River. But no, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
so
Yeah.
I was going to ask you guys.
Yep.
So they're shooting fireworks off in my neighborhood for St. Patty's Day, and I'm like, this is not common, right? This is not anywhere else. Does anywhere else shoot fireworks? I mean, it was ridiculous.
What are they? IRA?
I mean, okay, so it's not common, right? It's not a thing at other places.
Like fireworks.
Oh no, it's huge.
Well, I mean, you live in Texas, right?
Yes.
Okay, well,
It's just Texas. Then it's not an Irish
Anyway,
thing. That's Texas.
I hope it's not a thing. They were all green.
It's
Fine.
Thursday, right? Like
Yeah.
Fireworks for Thursday.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
We like explosions and stuff. Woo.
I
Highlights.
forgot that it was
Boom.
St. Patrick's Day, and hi-fi should be 4 sheets to the wind because you're Irish. Am I
Yes.
right? 3 sheets?
That's a misnomer.
He's
St. Patrick's for the Irish is
right
actually
now.
a religious holiday. Like,
Oh.
Come on, Heidi.
What is it for you, hi-fi?
It's a day of contemplation, I guess you'd say.
Whatever.
Contemplative.
Oh God.
Oh, this is Rad Pod and Chill. Back to
That's
vintage Rad Pod and Chill.
Let's
10-second time
mess
out.
with the stoner.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So
That
you
was-
know what I did last night,
I've
right,
been
guys?
I've been reading that what's that Terry Morey book, The Ultimate Evil?
Oh yeah, the Sons of Sam, bro.
Sons of
Wow.
Sam, yeah, and
wait,
the
before you
Process
get into
Church.
it, everybody watch the Netflix. If you're not going to read the book, which you should, but if you don't, watch the Netflix because it's fucking amazing. Sorry.
Okay, we'll do.
Sons of Sam on Netflix. It's worth a watch. Yeah, and then we got OTO. Yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
Oh wow.
so
yeah.
that's what I've been contemplating the snakes in my land.
So
right?
I mean, look, the Sons of Sam is fucking fascinating, like because there's all these weird connections from Son of Sam to the Process Church, and the OTO, which suddenly for some reason came up in my fucking life.
Yeah, I know.
And like, what the hell?
Equal
And
opportunity,
yes.
fuckers.
But the process church is like really, really old school, very dark satanic shit that birthed actually the like Scientology, like, and all
No, no,
kinds
no, no, no. Process Church was an
came from
offshoot.
Scient came
Yeah, it
from
came from
Scientology.
Scientology. And yeah, I
My
was
bad.
watching this
Sorry.
old hippie guy today.
Yeah.
And he was talking about, oh yeah, we knew how to use these e-meters better than they did, and it
Yeah.
builds up
Yeah,
electric.
yeah.
And like, what the fuck are you talking about? What?
Wow.
Yeah,
That
and the
was some
process
like,
church has sort of also morphed into much more mainstream, sort of religious movements that I don't want to get into right now because the thing, but yeah, it's a Sons of Sam. Watch it because a lot of the sort of underlying ideologies and twisted versions of occultism
Yeah.
came from that same strain, and we're seeing a lot of it right
Good
now.
to know.
High five.
Yeah.
So you're talking about snakes. So I found this interesting chart the other day on Reddit, which is really kind of bizarre. But it's the most common dreams for every country. Look at snakes. Snakes are the most common dream in the world, apparently.
What?
Yeah.
Not teeth
What?
falling out?
Teeth falling out is the most common for the Five Eyes countries, which is weird. Yeah.
Wow.
But snakes, yeah, the most the most Googled dream around the world is about snakes.
Wow.
52 countries. Yeah. And then
That's weird.
fascinating.
Have you? I mean, not that you should show it, but has anyone seen the porn one? It's fucking bizarre.
What?
what?
Like the most common porn in every state. Have you seen
Oh,
that
right.
one?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, don't need
I
to
mean,
see it.
not to get into. I'm not to get into it, but like, what?
Does
Yeah,
it have to do with does it
maps
have
and
to do
data
with
are weird.
does it
Yeah.
have to
Dude,
do
it was.
with does it have to
I
do
didn't
with
understand at all.
does it have to do with anacondas?
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Anaconda. Okay.
all right.
Anyway,
I had to bust that out.
that was
Well
interesting.
done.
I would actually posit that being the most common dream is a carryover from when we were primates. I mean, snakes were always deadly
Well,
to
Yeah, for
primates.
sure.
They still are, right?
Yeah.
They're
And
a predator.
in South America, obviously, and then middle and Central Asia.
Tucson.
Yeah, but then in America, Canada, UK, and Australia, teeth falling out was the most common dream.
See, I thought I thought the Jungian symbology behind that was loss of control, but
yeah.
it's been so long since I've read Jung that
Heidi Sigmund Freud says that snakes has some sort of sexual message in there somewhere.
I mean, it's not exactly subtle.
Oh, actually, no. She's not incorrect. Erica Badu's Bandy Bandy, right?
I love her.
That's a snake song.
Yeah.
I mean, what about Whitesnake?
Oh dear God. Oh wow.
Very
That's
funky.
like Tawny Katane.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Whitesnake. It was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Here I go
I
again.
feel
Wow.
like we've come to some sort of
I didn't even realize that.
where we've gone into maybe
Word
so we have
association.
more video. Do we have any anagrams?
Yeah. We got
Anagram.
Let's
break
get
it up
us
here.
out. Let's get
Let's
us
break it
out
up.
of the anaconda
All right,
zone. Although
so-
we're going to have to do an anagram of anaconda at some point.
yes, we'll definitely have to.
Lizard.
All right, here we
This is
go.
a weird
Anagram.
iPod show, man.
It is.
Oh, it's only just getting started. It's going to get so good. It's going to get
Right.
so good in like 3 minutes.
Here we go with speaking of psyopings, public relations. Okay,
Ooh.
there we go.
Wow. Wow.
Yep. Yep.
I've
That's
got a
a
bunch
good
of friends
one.
who are going to be pissed at me right now who are in PR. They're not going
That's
to like
amazing.
that.
Yeah, there you go. Public
Huh.
relations. Let's see. We've got a few more here. So we've been talking about a lot of charismatic speakers, evangelic speakers, preachers.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Preacher
So
man.
here we go with the evangelist. Let's see what that does. Oh,
Those hate
Whoa.
it.
Whoa.
Wow.
Ooh.
That's
That's
incredible.
amazing.
Wow.
yeah. All right. And then the last one here is thinking about the origin of all these, conflicts and, going, well, the Iraq War, right? Looking back at
Mhm.
what happened at that time, trying to sort of figure out the nexus of a lot of these issues. And what did we have? What did we say? What was our pretense for going there? Weapons of mass destruction, right?
Oh, wow.
So let's see what happens there.
The lizard.
I know. Everybody loves that. Every episode, people are still like, "I love the lizard."
No, they don't.
That's gonna live in
Right.
history,
Brad
Pod
infamy.
history.
Weapons of mass destruction. Here we go.
I'm afraid. Whoa!
Whoa.
That's weird,
That
right?
took me a
Uh-oh.
minute.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I mean, it's so good that it took me
Weapons
a
of mass
long time to
destruction.
read it.
US
Team swoop
finds no
finds no
trace.
trace.
Wow.
Yeah.
Weird, right?
God, I remember, man, that
Yeah.
whole time I was so fucking confused. I was sure there had to be, right? Back
Yeah.
then. Like,
Yeah.
I
it
wasn't.
didn't
They were
seem like
lying.
I saw
It was a
fucking.
pretense.
Of course it was. I know that now, but I wasn't,
Right.
I was hoping that Colin Powell
Yeah.
wasn't fucking. I mean, that's what that broke my heart, man, because
Yeah.
I didn't believe the fucking Bushes at all. I didn't believe
Yeah.
any of those people. But
Yeah.
fucking Colin Powell comes out and says, hey, look, I got fucking maps and I got diagrams, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy,
Wow.
And so, that was just a straight up propaganda influence op. That's all that was. It was a
Absolutely.
psyop by our fucking government
Yep.
to allow us to
go
attack
blow
another
up brown
country.
people.
That was the first
it was
war
it
that
was
I.
a fucking psyop against America to get Americans killed.
That was that was
I
weird,
brought
right?
my children to protest that war, which I've got pictures of them very little protesting, doing the work of democracy. Come to think of it, I promised you guys a Rumsfeld anecdote.
We had a Rumsfeld anagram last episode.
Just look up Rumsfeld and aspartame. I'm too tired to go into it, but he was CEO of GD Searle. They were looking for an ulcer medication. They found that this thing that they were working on tasted sweet, and then they infected our entire food ecosystem with it.
Aspartame.
Where there are just, there are just mass. There's just things that I don't eat, okay, or go near. Like I can't pick up yogurt. Oh, there's aspartame in it. Everyone's addicted to Diet Coke. Talk to some of the doctors about that stuff. So anyway, people can thank Donald Rumsfeld for this chemical that's in everyone's food.
I mean, Donald Rumsfeld is responsible for a hell of a lot more than aspartame.
Well, aspartame's pretty bad, just like Orrin Hatch
that
was responsible for ephedra.
Cause a lot of death and
You is for
destruction and bad things.
Yeah, I know.
I know you do.
I think we're pretty much at the point. Sorry.
Orrin Hatch got ephedra on the market. He rigged it where that could go through like a food. And then all of a sudden, all these, athletes are like freaking dropping dead. And his son made millions of dollars off of it. I don't celebrate. I know. I don't celebrate these guys.
Speed.
Yeah, I had to go to the hospital in college for taking that shit. I didn't realize.
It's literally ephedrine.
You're lucky you didn't stroke out, because that's what was happening to people.
It's extremely
exactly
bad.
right.
Blow your heart up.
Yeah.
And who did they just bury? Who was like the guy who got, they just instate somebody horrible in his 90s. I don't mourn these guys. I'm not going to be phony about it. I don't go, oh, gee, I'm so sorry. That's the guy who got Oleg Deripaska his visa after we'd already sanctioned him. I don't love these people, you know? Come on, I think he was like Secretary of the Interior or Agriculture at one point. He just died a couple months ago. One of our friends will know. I did a whole thread on all these guys who ran our intelligence agencies and worked in our government, who then became K Street lobbyists and brought the oligarchs to our shores.
Yeah.
Fuck you very much.
Yep.
Yeah, we do seem to have a problem with our intelligence agencies being infiltrated, specifically at the upper management levels, it seems.
I would like to see that change, and I hope that these sanctions that dear sweet Marty told us about, are going to be the thing that makes the difference and remove our vulnerabilities of becoming a, kleptocracy, as we've seen, happened in Russia. Before we get to Marty's clips, yes, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like on the rogue intelligence people front,
Yeah.
there's a component to like all this fucking Twitter shit and all the fuckery and hacking and stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Not just me,
Yeah.
but a lot of the same people coming at me,
Yeah.
are like contractors for the government.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
EXE Intel.
I know.
Like, I know.
What's going on?
Sounds
What's
crazy,
going on?
but seriously,
No,
EXE
don't.
Intel, look that shit up. There's a bunch of those,
Jason
at least
Chambers.
former operatives running around Twitter doing horrible shit.
Yeah. Part of the reason I
And
show
it's
Crispy
really,
is I
really
listen to you
odd.
and Sean.
Like why are these people who are funded by the fucking CIA like running around doing this kind of shit? It's really strange. Like,
I know.
honestly,
I listened
really strange.
on the drive home. I listened to you and Sean's pod, which was incredible. And I do think that's part of why I'm feeling crispy salty, because I feel like we have this infection without protections. We do not have protections. We do not have, major actors, Twitter CEOs, safety experts going, oh my God, look what's happening on our platform. This is terrible.
Mhm.
No, what we have is our voices, Christopher Boozy and Brent Allpress and Dave Troy, maybe. Like, where
Vickery.
is the
We got Vickery.
Vickery.
We love Vickery.
I do too.
And we have the other, the really big force that's going after Russia right now, all the anonymous.
Yeah, there's Squad 303.
Can we talk a little bit about how terrifying Putin's speech was? I just read it. I can't watch it. I mean, I actually did unmute it for a bit. Usually I just read all my video. Wow. Did he really fire 1,000? I wrote a comedy about him in that state where he's like firing his barber and his, his food taster and everything. It's like, it's real. It's happening.
Yeah.
No, he fired these 2 intelligence people just now.
Yeah.
He not only he put them under house arrest.
Yes, and apparently 1,000 members of his staff. First of all, who has 1,000 staffers? I guess
Same people that have.
Hey, you got a palace,
He's mad because they didn't tell him the truth, but if they had told him the truth, he would have fucking put him in prison.
Defenestrated him.
Right? Like
poison
that's
their underwear.
Emperor has no clothes. Yeah.
Smelling his own farts, right? He's believing his own stuff.
I have a whole thread on that.
Robert J. Lifton, who's one of the foremost experts on brainwashing and all of that, is like, look, he's not insane.
Yeah.
It's not mental illness.
Yeah.
It's an ideology. It's a totalist ideology that is self-reinforcing and becomes dictator syndrome, is what somebody else has called it as well, where you start to think that the things that you are telling other people are true, and if they don't, if they tell you something different than that, then you punish them.
Yeah.
And then when the thing that they would have told you comes true and they didn't tell you about that thing, then you
Yeah.
punish them anyway.
Yeah.
And so it becomes a very, very toxic persecution based, system. But that shit won't last too long.
I just think
Which
the
is the
fact that
good
he's
thing.
putting his, head FSB guys under house arrest and firing his generals and getting rid of the staffers and I think what that shows is that they don't like him either.
Yeah.
Why would he be doing that if he felt safe,
Right,
if
right,
he
right.
felt his food tester was, a good guy? Somebody from within could be the biggest hero in the world right now if they were able to take care of their boy.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Dustin.
So we have hey Dustin, we got let's watch that Jim's clip. So Heidi,
Yeah.
we didn't get all of the Marty clips, but we got the section from Jim's documentary with this, which is
Fine.
really good. This is the Flynn part.
I'm excited.
Yeah, let's check it
So
out.
good. I saw it right away.
Here we go. Oh, it's a different codec. Sorry, let me convert it real quick while you take a second.
I just need to point something out real fast.
Hi-Fi, you could grab the Marty clips off of Twitter too, because we cut them and posted them there, and there was a couple really good ones on Putin crying uncle. But go ahead, my friend.
If you watch RadPod, 4.5 weeks ago, our word phrase of the week was fifth column.
Yeah.
And in his unhinged fucking speech that
Yeah.
Vladdy Daddy just gave, he ripped me off twice.
Yeah.
Fucker.
Yeah, they're micromanagers. They know. Like when I was blogging early on, only because I was a member of the media for so long in LA, Trump would co-opt my words, misusing them the next day or the day after, or there'd be some blog that would address it. They're paying attention to everything, and pretty much so much of the work we've been doing, Jim's been doing, and you've been doing, gets forecast and broadcast, and 1,000 people or whatever people ultimately watch what we have going on, and then it continues on from there. As it should be, but the propagandists then take the words and misuse the truth, and they do it in a very, pernicious way, as Jim would say, pernicious.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Like they're wrong. They know they're wrong. They know they're caught. They know, like, all of those things. It's only, like, right now the work is to keep doing what we're doing,
Yeah.
keep building, keep our eyes ahead of us, and not take any more shit from these fucking people, but also not focus on them. Fuck
Yeah.
them.
Well,
I mean,
why do you?
I'm gonna be ruining all of them on Substack. Don't
You
get me
already
wrong.
are. You're killing it. You're
I know,
crushing it.
but we don't need to, fuck them.
Well, I do want to say that I did thread some highlights from our show, just going through and posting clips like of the people and the guests that we've had.
Yeah.
We have the dopest show. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's fun. You
All
guys
right,
are
that's no
cool.
cheerleading. Stop.
It's important. That's all I want to say is I think our show's important.
I'm looking forward to next week's guest.
Mhm.
Can we give a teaser? Can we tell them who it is?
I don't want to, only because, sometimes we have scheduling changes or whatever, and I don't want to disappoint people, but they won't be disappointed.
Okay.
Our guests are always bomb ass.
True. But if we get this person for the next one,
We already
I'm
got
really
him.
excited.
We already got them.
Provided nothing changes.
You know how we do. It's already confirmed, but I just,
You never know. I mean, things happen.
But I do want Martin Shield to know that he is officially RadPod's money laundering correspondent.
The gate has been pushed by Michael G. Flynn.
Oh, all right, we got it.
Oh, we got it.
Ready? Here we go.
Yep.
Pizzagate has been pushed by Michael G. Flynn, son of retired Lieutenant General Michael T. Flynn. After Welch's arrest Sunday, the younger Flynn tweeted, "Until Pizzagate proven to be false, it'll remain a story."
If there's anyone on planet Earth who is the most obvious Russian asset, it's Mike Flynn.
So we have known that there was a phone call between Michael Flynn, the national security advisor, and the Russian ambassador to the United States. They admitted that.
You don't have to look. You fucking Google him.
We're told that retired Lieutenant General Michael Flynn,
I
Donald
love
Trump's
that line.
former national security advisor, was paid more than $33,750 by Russia's state-run broadcaster RT TV Russia for a speech in Moscow in December 2015. The U.S. intelligence community has long assessed that RT is a propaganda tool of the Kremlin, writing in its January report on Russian interference in the U.S. election that the organization
2016, Mike Flynn starts talking about digital soldiers. Digital soldiers is the idea of an online insurgency, and that was his idea. He trademarked the term digital soldiers in 2017, 9 months before QAnon.
Jericho was a city of false gods and corruption. On God's command, Joshua and the army of Israel marched around the city 7 times and let out a loud shout, and God brought down the walls of the city and exposed the darkness. Our Jericho March was born of a vision from God. We, the people, peacefully march, pray.
The Jericho rally on December 12th, 2020 was the craziest fucking thing I have ever seen.
This is war. We are at war, and you better call it what it is, people.
Satanism is out of the open. The Bible is fulfilled.
Let's take over the country.
Thank you for this general. We thank you that you have anointed him and appointed him for such a time as this. So we decree the Spirit of the Lord and the freedom over this country because God has brought it and has said it. So we bless the General Flynn and the President.
It's just that it's weird. It's fucking weird. What? What do you mean this general, this guy, a general is like a Russian agent who psyoped the American, like, it sounds crazy. I sound crazy to myself saying it. So in case people don't know, I shot that a year ago.
No.
Almost exactly a year ago, a little over. One day I will tell the story of the last fucking year of my life, and the lengths people have gone through to prevent anybody from seeing that or anything else I do.
Yeah.
But I am going to be I do have plans for it, and I'm going to be releasing some more on my Substack
So
over the
great.
next little while.
The moment you sent it to me, I watched it right away. It's incredible. And these fucking people have been trying to shut you up, And being independent, they've had a hard time.
I'm in that club
Yeah,
too.
they're not used to people with no fucks.
Yeah, I know.
And we have no fucks.
And you know what's funny about that? The kind of irony in that is that you guys have more fucks than anybody I know. Or why would you put yourself through it? But what you don't have, is,
I've
any desire to shut up.
Oh, no. Yeah, no, they can't shut us up.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck you,
So I
guys.
found this.
And nobody break my stride.
I also found this video of we're just talking about how we were fifth column, and we were a few weeks ahead of that, and then these guys.
They do know what they're doing. I would call
Now
them
everybody's
an asset,
with the fifth column.
especially Tucker Carlson and Tulsi Gabbard. She's just a moron. But for these people to come up there, we are now seeing a term that I never thought I'd see in my life: fifth columnist. People who are deliberately.
Yep, it's everywhere now. Yeah.
I was writing about it in 2019, and I was writing about gaslighting in 2016.
You
The
Oh,
in?
well,
14th Vogue.
I was
So
writing
you
about
said something really important on Jim's podcast today
who
that
did?
I think is really important to note. It's
What?
again, I always frame kind of what we're seeing in the disinformation space and the influence wars as I look at it with kind of an addiction framework. And you
Mm-hmm.
said something so important today, Sean, where you're mainlining some poison and it's not working, so they got to escalate it, increase the
Yeah.
dose, increase the dose. The stuff that Nick Fuentes is saying, the stuff
Yeah.
that Marjorie Taylor Greene is saying, the stuff that Michael Flynn is saying. Michael Flynn, aside from splaying his fingers out, I shouldn't even do that because that'll. Aside from splaying his fingers out, he was essentially in that clip you showed doing every Hitlerian gesture. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think that maybe they're trying to feed the beast by getting more extreme in
No,
order
Yeah.
to continue to
100,
create that outrage.
Unfortunately, that's
100%.
exactly right. I mean, there's a tolerance that gets built up, and I was speaking about that in terms of the Mary Trump describing, or not diagnosing, but talking about Trump as a malignant narcissist, a
Oh,
sadist,
yes.
with this,
Right.
but the most important part of that is his sadism,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the fact that
The
you get,
only time that Donald Trump ever smiles is when somebody else gets hurt
Mm-hmm.
and
yeah,
he wins.
and the
Yeah.
fact
That's
that,
it.
and built in
You
that,
literally like watch
Yeah.
anything like watch him like meet a kid, see if he
yeah,
smiles.
Well,
Watch him
it's like
see
what
his
you guys were
wife, see if he
saying, the
smiles.
humor empathy thing, like no humor, no empathy.
humor. So
Uh,
things that drive them MAGA really crazy is music, humor, and they try to have their own humor. It's just they're devoid of that sort of empathetic part. So you can't self-reflect. So then you can't be humorous. That's part of humor, is the laughing at yourself.
Imagine how horrible it must be playing a character where you can't post pictures from your real life if you wanted to, or celebrate a kid graduating.
Yeah.
You're locked into this, role like a bad soap
I mean,
opera.
I could see how it could be kind of fun in a way, but except for the part where you're like
You're hurting people.
where you're hurting other humans for money.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Like that part's not okay. Like I mean, there's plenty of people who kind of who LARP in little characters on Twitter or whoever they are, and nobody
Yeah.
knows who they are. I've got friends,
They're not hurting people.
who aren't hurting people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
some really big accounts, some well-known people, accounts
Yeah.
that no one knows who the fuck they are.
Yeah.
But they're awesome. They don't
Yeah.
hurt anybody.
And
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that. But
Yeah.
if you fucking hide behind an anonymous account and hurt somebody, well, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, I like what Sean was saying too, like deprive them of oxygen. If you're going to be a single
Zero.
purpose hate account and we don't know who you are, then your information means nothing. And,
Well, I mean,
what's interesting is I've noticed the dialing down of the noise too. There's no traction if people are onto your con. Hopefully people will get a new grift.
Part of the tractions in Peru.
Oh, yeah. Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I listen again. I got this big
still
heart,
can't
this
believe
big
it.
sensitive heart. I already feel bad for the fallout from this, because imagine trying to recover your career from that.
Well,
Unless you publicly apologize and explain what fucking happened, and then
Okay.
Yeah.
we're a very forgiving people. Is all I want to say.
and going back to the notion about the empathy and humor, and it's in art, right? That's why you'll hear all of these revolutionaries talk about art and how art can actually change and cause
Yes.
revolutions to either spark, ignite, or change
Yes.
the movement. Like
Art
the
therapy
famous,
is real too.
Yes.
there's the famous story about who was it? One of the abstract painters. Anyway, I'll remember in a second. But the point is it's that part of yourself that you have to be self-reflexive to produce art, to create art.
Yeah.
And so in a society without empathy is going to be a society without art.
Yeah.
Without a culture, essentially, because that's
Yeah.
so then you just have what? You have orders, you have commands, and then
Yeah.
you have following checklists, you know, and that would
Yeah.
be sort of the art of that culture would be a fucking checklist
Yeah.
of commands. It would be, you know, miserable, absolutely miserable. And that's what
Yes.
we've seen in these conflicts and these discussions is that there's no, that's if you can't communicate about music, about art, about a joke, you know,
Yeah.
what are you really left with when you're just talking? I mean,
Because
I-
they
all
all
the
talk about
thinking
who they
part's
don't
not
like,
there.
you know,
yes.
actually you
It's
talk about
short
who they don't
circuit.
like. Yeah.
That must be a painful place because then you're like not,
Also, yes, thank
you're on
you.
the outside looking in and,
Thank you, Laura.
it's got
Yeah,
to be
well,
very
that was
painful.
for me, that was the weirdest thing when I first ran into this was just the total lack of empathy.
Yeah.
Just I went to Twitter, QAnon Twitter a year and
Yeah.
a half ago, and I just saw all these people just cruel, just racist, just awful. And no self-reflection at all. No idea that it was bad, and it was very fucking strange. Just to see hundreds of thousands of people right in front of me just being sociopaths.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it didn't make any fucking sense until I started to understand the effects of trauma, how
Yeah.
brainwashing works, how coercion works, all of those things. And the empathy is just driven out of people's minds and
Yeah.
short circuited. That's what happens in these situations. They get this,
Yeah.
it's technically called OSDD, other specified dissociative disorder.
Mm-hmm.
And it has to do with people who are in cults and brainwashed and
Yeah.
all those things. And
Yeah.
it takes away a lot of your actual ability to feel emotions and
Right.
experience empathy.
And the way the chants have been described as desensitizing machines, and Hi-Fi talks about that as a young man trying to see what he could take and be as desensitized as possible. That's awful.
So
That creates,
Well,
yes.
she just reminded me of Picasso, and the story was that Picasso, when he saw a tank sort of rolling through Paris, it was camouflage, right? It had camouflage on it, and
Yeah.
he turned to his friends and he was like, "We've done it. We've won the war. We conquered the war." Because in his abstract expressionism, the camouflage was an extension of that artistic idea to create camouflage that then they put on, the machines, and so there was that notion of his art influenced into, the help with war and then the victory.
He's legit. I mean, I wrote my first screenplay was about a woman who saved like 42 lives in the French Resistance, and she was friends with Picasso. She was an American actress in the 30s who then moved to Paris to marry a French matinee idol, who then was in the RAF and got gunned down. It's an amazing story. But Picasso was her friend, and in her book she writes about interactions she has with him, and at the end, after they'd won everything, he was just like, they're like at a cafe while the snipers are still, shooting across the streets, and he just had an incredible spirit, obviously, and an incredible mind, and he insisted she go get herself a new skirt because she'd been wearing the same skirt, for like 4 years.
There's also the great story about Hemingway and Picasso trying to meet. Have you heard that? When Hemingway, they kept trying to meet, he kept trying to meet, and then finally Hemingway went over to his house and he rang the bell, and someone answered and he asked, "Is Picasso there?" And they said no. So Hemingway went back to his Jeep and grabbed a crate full of grenades and went and said, "I have a gift for him," and set it on his stoop. And he was like, "I can think of nothing more, no better gift to give an artist." He dropped on a bunch of grenades and left.
Wow, either that or he was drunk. I don't know. Hey, so we don't have a Marty clip, but we do have another anagram.
No.
Hi-Fi, can you surf for it? Can just find me one, or I'll send it to you.
We only got a minute left.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
Let's just say, we'll make a few announcements. So, guys, we have our Zoom monthly Zoom call with our patrons coming up next week. I'll schedule that next week.
These are the VIPs, right?
Yeah. Some of the people that were asking,
I did tell Sharon at some point we're going to do one for the whole gang.
We should.
I don't know when that's going to be. And my daughter just told me it's okay for me to tweet her all Irish show. So I'm going to do that. She's a DJ, as you guys know, and she's got an all Irish set happening right now.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
Oh my God.
But yeah, that'll be next week. We'll be.
Heidi's daughter's funny as shit too.
She's a great poet. She's an incredible poet. If you guys don't know her daughter, she's a poet laureate for like
She's
West.
famous. She's famous.
She's amazing.
She's funny too.
Poetry.
I saw her stand up.
Oh my God.
We're building her fan club for her as we speak.
Oh my God, she has.
I don't say
a fan
that
club.
lightly. I don't. The comedians.
Yeah, kids got talent, definitely.
Yeah, no, she's something else. Like I've been marveling at my own kids for a long time. Like I'm just like, whoa, they're on some whole other level. I love it. But yeah, I only shared that stand up with you guys and my friend who created that 70s show because he's a stand up, and the response was very positive.
All right, guys, we will see you this weekend.
Yeah. Thank you. I don't know about y'all, but I feel better.
Thanks, everybody.
See you soon. Bye.
Love you guys. Thank you.